All right, this is Pants.
And also Murd.
And before we get started in this episode, just let you know we had some internet difficulties with our Skyping, so Chris is sort of got to be choppy like that. So please bear with us. It's a very usual episode, so here we go. This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1683, Previews!
Laser beams, opinions like the seasons on everything you read in comics, movies, games, toys, artists, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is...
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Chris Eberly.
Comic Geek Speak.
And welcome to the show. Once again, it's previews time. Previews, how we love you previews. Yes, we're going to go.
Let us count the ways.
We're going to go through the previews catalog. Hopefully I have the right catalog. Did I bring the right catalog?
You did. It's exactly the same as the one I'm
thank
holding.
God I did. This is the January 2018 previews catalog for items shipping to stores mostly beginning in March of 2018.
And I actually have a catalog this time.
Nice.
All right.
Bonus.
That helps. And as always, these previews episodes are brought to you by Discount Comic Book Service. Go to dcbservice.com for all your pre-ordering needs. Because when you pre-order from them any DC, Marvel, Dark Horse, or Image title, they are right away 40% off the cover price. Most of your other publishers are between 20 and 35% off cover price. And they do run many specials where they will have 45, 50, 60, even up to 75% off the cover price. And they once again continue their tradition of when you pre-order any new DC or Marvel hardcover or trade, those are all half off cover price. And they also run many bundles. They are still running some kind of bundle all the time for DC Rebirth. They also have, I think, some Marvel Legacy bundles, some kids bundles for DC Comics.
There is a Valiant bundle this month.
There's a Valiant bundles. So check them out for a bundle to put a whole bunch of books together for one low price. You can get your books shipped weekly, twice monthly, or monthly at Bags and Boards. We use them for many, many years. We love them, quite frankly. I don't know what I'd do without them. So check them out. Discount Comic Book Service, dcbservice.com. All right, well, Chris, this is your first show of the new year. How was your new year, sir?
It was pretty eventful, Pansy, because for my Japanese family, New Year's is a huge holiday in Japanese culture. So there was a series of celebrations, a couple different dinners, one of them with wonderful Japanese fare. So it was busy. We had a lot of Keiko's family visiting. They all live in America, but in other parts of the country. It was a eventful time, a good time. This is the kind of vacation where you have a good time, but there's a lot going on. You just relax that much. But it's good to catch up with family and eat a lot of damn good food. So
excellent.
And I want to say, because I was listening to the wonderfully convivial post-holiday mishmash episode that I missed. My friend, I want to second your tribute of the Punisher series.
Okay.
On Netflix. Again, I won't spoil, and I still have 2 episodes to go. But for me, I think it's one of the best Marvel shows that they've done. I know a lot of people commented how some of the shows they feel are too long, like that they kind of have a lull point in the 13 episodes. I think this one is so perfectly paced. I think it's one of the best shows they've produced thus far. I think John Bernthal, the way he captures that character and really humanizes and brings out the complexities of the character in many ways that the comic book doesn't. Riveting, and I can't wait to watch the last 2. But definitely one of the stronger outings for Marvel's Netflix programming.
Cool. Now I want to ask you a yes or no question, and all I want is
Sure.
all I want is a yes or no. So you heard my description of the episode of the
Yes.
series. do you know that one name, who that one name will turn out to be?
Based on what you described, yes, I think I know.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, because I did not recognize that name when he spoke it.
Okay. Because Adam hasn't as a
We'll confer again once I watch the finale, but
certainly. And since you listened to the episode, did you hear what I'm doing on Friday?
oh, now the best part about that, so I was driving in my car listening to that, I start howling with laughter because I hear you guys imitating my reaction to what you were doing, and with a quite anticipatory and correct, because I was, just in my vehicle and hooting and hollering, and because I remember a couple of years ago we talked about that.
Yes,
I brought it up. And Pants, fantastic. It's in February. You're going?
I'm going this Friday.
It's a Martin Luther King weekend. Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic Pants. You can take photographs, correct?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Anyway, to reiterate, what I'm doing is I'm going to the Library of Congress, and we'll get to view in person all of the original artwork from Steve Ditko from Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man, plus the other 3 backup stories. I don't think I've ever read.
I didn't know that. That's great.
I didn't even know that they had the rest of the artwork, which is just tremendous. So I'm looking forward to that very much. There's only specific things you can bring into the library, and I believe I can bring, my phone with my photo, my camera on the phone, take a few pictures.
Do we know who donated the art, or is it anonymous?
It's anonymous. Again, I have a few people who tell me they know who did it, and it's like, guys, whatever. There was some rumors of who it was, and I did read an article online where, if you believe the article, they gave away the gender of the person donating the artwork there, and that the artwork was given as a gift to this donor, not by Ditko, but by somebody else, and that the owner asked Ditko if it was okay to donate, and he said yes. So that's one of the articles I read from about maybe 10 years ago when it was first given to him, almost 10 years ago, I think sometime in early spring, that it was donated to the Library of Congress.
Well, whoever it is, they've done a wonderful sort of civic service for the United States.
Absolutely. And
all citizens to enjoy. It's wonderful.
So I'm looking forward to that. I hope I don't drool on it too much. I mean,
We'll probably provide drool guards for such things.
It's in Mylar, baby. Mylar. So now keep it away. I'm hopefully I can at least looky. So I'm looking forward to the whole weekend getting out of D.C. and getting out of the town for a while. All right, but that's not why you called. End of the previews. Anything else before we get started, though, Jim? We're going to dive right in.
I want to talk about something else. I can talk about it when we get to the Marvel section.
Certainly. Now, this catalog, by my reckoning, is the first to feature the upcoming Free Comic Day fair. Does that sound about right to everybody?
Sounds about right, yep.
And, of course, Free Comic Book Day this year is Saturday, May 4th, of course, 2018.
So it's going to be May the 4th be with you. It's going to be Star Wars Day.
Right, and also I believe it will be the day after the premiere of the latest Avengers movie.
Oh,
yes.
Well, now.
We'll have to figure out how we're going to see that if we're going to do the whole thing, because unfortunately...
Gentlemen, my invitation is still open for that.
Oh.
We'll talk more about that off mic.
Well, certainly. All right, so did anything of those issues catch anyone's eye? I mean, it's a lot of... some reprints, but then also usually DC has a top secret gold book. Doctor Who has a cover to be revealed. There's some things which may tie into upcoming events.
What caught my eye in the Dark Horse section, they're doing a story inspired by Black Hammer.
Oh.
1,000 years in the future, a collection of teenage superheroes inspired by the legendary heroes of Black Hammer Farm are determining the riddle of what happened to those last heroes of the 20th century. Now, it's not written by Jeff Lemire. It's written by Andrew Robinson, looks like, and various, it says. But Black Hammer, I think, is one of the best books being produced, so that's exciting.
Chris, if you hadn't noticed it before, I'd like to draw your attention to the next page, page 36, under Image. This Barrier #1, it's by the creative team of Brian K. Vaughan and Marcos Martinez of Private Eye.
Private Eye. Oh.
So apparently this thing, it's going to be, it's landscape format. So I guess the staples are going to be in what would ordinarily be the top of the comic. says it's side stapled for convenient shelving. Okay.
53 first issue, Murd.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's all free. And then the rest of the issues will be published weekly.
Well, I can be assuring that. Man. Oh, I love Private Eye. It was tremendous. Fantastic.
Yep, I would really like to read that story one day. So hopefully there will be a paperback edition eventually produced.
I think I have the hard copy of that.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
See, it was,
okay.
I think it was online originally. It was like digital
Yes.
first.
Yes.
But yeah, so like I said, if they ever do a TPB, then I'll...
Murd, next time I'll just lend you my hardcover. You can just read it. Do you want to borrow it?
I would love to borrow it, Chris. I mean, you've been...
Then consider it yours.
Thank you very much, Chris, because you've said
bet.
several times, and I've agreed with you every time. It sounds like exactly the kind of subject matter, the kind of theme that I would enjoy seeing a master like BKV treat.
There is no question that you're going to enjoy it.
I'd loan you mine if I knew where it was. Sorry. I know it's in my house somewhere.
We're
but
going to help you clean your house one of these days.
one of these days. From your lips to God's ears. All right. Anything else on the FCBD? I know we're doing abbreviating here.
On page 41 on Dynamite, they're doing the first issue of Warren Ellis's James Bond Varger story, which is outstanding. And I'm very pleased to see they're doing, from Jordan Quarterly, Jason Lutz's masterpiece, Berlin, which is his chronicle of life in Weimar, Germany, in the build-up to the Nazi power, and how he follows different characters who are affected by that time. It is a tremendous book. They issues only come out once in a while, but definitely, if you want to read a wonderful sort of a fiction, definitely try out Berlin 1 on FCBD.
Excellent. All right, then on to Dark Horse, gentlemen.
Oh, hold on a minute.
I'm so sorry.
A couple other free comic book day offerings I'd like to mention. Also under Dynamite, in addition to that Warren Ellis James Bond reprint that Chris mentioned, there's a new Bob's Burgers comic coming out. I have every issue of the Bob's Burgers comic that Dynamite published for a couple of years, and it's nice to have a little extra content to add to that. Let's see, on page 44, Starburns Industries, which is it's a production company that put out Rick and Morty on Adult Swim. We've got some original comics content written by Patton Oswalt and Dan Harmon, a co-creator of Rick and Morty, so that's kind of exciting. From Tokyo Pop, an original manga-style Nightmare Before Christmas story. That'll be fun. And I guess that's all.
Okay.
From Marvel on page 43, there's something involving an Infinity Watch. So that's kind of a hint of things to come involving the Infinity Gems or Stones, if you prefer, from Marvel in the coming year. So
Now, you don't mean like an actual watch.
No, I mean watch as in who watches the Watchmen.
I get it. Well, there's a gauntlet. There's all thing. Hey, nice little brooch, or no, I guess a watch.
No, this is a pre-existing concept in Marvel Comics going back to the early 90s.
I know. Well, we'll get to that later on when we get to Marvel. All right. So now on to Dark Horse, gentlemen.
I wanted to point out on page 58, this is very exciting, Jeff Lemire writing a Black stuff. Dr. Star and the King Lost Tomorrow is a 4-issue miniseries. It's written by the creator of the Black Hammer comics, so I'm getting this immediately. The art looks beautiful by Max Fiumara. Colors by Dave Stewart. Are you guys reading Black Hammer?
Well, it's kind of on hiatus. So right now,
it's on hiatus. Yeah.
Right, the Sherlock Frankenstein and the Legion of Evil miniseries is kind of the placeholder for that. But I'm definitely getting that, and I will definitely be getting Dr. Star as well, since it's pretty clearly Jeff Lemire's love letter to James Robinson's Starman, as seen through the telescopic lens of Black Hammer. So Shane, if you're listening, this is something you should probably be picking up too.
Absolutely. In fact, when you look at the artwork, they show like schematics that the main character is for devising his gadgetry. It even says in chalk, inventor James Robinson. So I'm all over that.
Yeah, and that variant cover by Declan Shalvey looks very Starman-like. And the first issue through DC Best is half off cover price, $1.99.
Well, speaking of Sherlock Frankenstein and the Legion of Evil, that miniseries is being collected in trade already, and the solicitation for that is on page 60. It's a look inside the doings of one of the preeminent villains of the fictional superhero universe in which Black Hammer takes place.
what I like doing, look at a lot of pages, they're highlighting the great creators or work titles in bold print. Matt Kint, Evan Dorkin, that type of approach. In fact, the final issue of Department H is on 7, a book I have yet to read, but I hear nothing but good things about it.
Oh, I see what you mean about the Evan Dorkin things being clustered together. We've got a big serving of milk and cheese on page 68. It's Evan Dorkin's famous humor book featuring a pair of sadistic and nihilistic dairy products gone bad. That's kind of how Evan Dorkin made his name.
Wow, this trade collects every single stupid, according to the solicitor, milk and cheese comic ever made from 89 to 2010, along with a ton of supplemental awesomeness. I am going to get this. I loved Evan Dorkin. I saw him at Pittsburgh many times and just made me laugh, and his comics are awesome. So I'm going to pick this up because I have spotted... I'm sorry, my collection of his issues are spotty at best. So having it all here is great.
A carton of hate and a wedge of spite.
They hate what you hate, and they hate you.
You know, I've already got some kind of milk and cheese collection at home. I'm sure it's not as complete as this, but it's enough to satisfy me, I think. I'm not going to spend the extra money for that. But if you want some more Evan Dorkin, I would recommend the thing that's being solicited on the facing page, number 69, Beasts of Burden. So this is written by Dorkin with art by Jill Thompson of Sandman and also Scary Godmother. And it's a story about a team of domestic pets, mostly dogs, and one token cat, who defend their hometown of Burden Hill from various supernatural threats. It's something... There's a bunch of different ways I could high concept this, but I'm going to go with Stranger Things meets Bunnicula.
Meets what?
Bunnicula. It's a series of children's novels about a couple of household pets who are convinced that their family's new pet bunny rabbit is actually a vampire.
I know not
Speaking
of
of
what you speak.
They made a...
Speaking of... Go ahead, Mert. I apologize.
It's okay, Chris. The Cartoon Network did an animated series based on Bunnicula with Chris Kattan as the voice of the vampire rabbit. It lasted like 3 weeks, like 2 years ago, on Saturday mornings on Cartoon Network.
Okay. I did not know that.
It was a part of my childhood, anyway.
Okay.
I think ABC did some Saturday morning story break specials based on the Bunnicula books. But anyway, it's about a bunch of household pets who are fighting vampires and stuff. And it's delightful. I've got a few of the one-shots that Dorkin and Thompson did. And some of the people who listen to the show have also picked up on Beasts of Burden and have said it's a delight. So anybody out there who hasn't tried it yet, this is a pretty thorough compilation of all the Beasts of Burden material that's been published to date.
I just wanted to mention, because you brought it up, that over the snow days this past week, Keiko and I binge-watched all of Stranger Things. I never watched it, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Talk about a show made for people from my generation. Holy mackerel. Great stuff.
Yep, that is one show I would love to watch if only they'd put it on real television.
That's not going to happen, Mert.
Yep. Don't I know it. Well, maybe it'll be on DVD eventually.
Well, perhaps. It's Netflix, so I'm not sure, but you would love it. Page 75 is a new Usagi Yojimbo storyline by the creator Stan Sakai. So if you're a fan of that property, the new story begins here, it says. God, he's been doing that story for so many years. Got to admire that.
Now, this is intriguing to me. On page 80, Lone Wolf and Cub Gallery Edition hardcover. It looks to be quite similar to the IDW Artist Editions that are all the craze. This is going to be reproduced from high-resolution scans at original size from the original art created over 40 years ago.
Wow. DC, gentlemen?
Yeah, I think on to DC.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Right. What do we think of the Immortal Men on page 89?
Well, I think we should have had a copy of that first issue in our hands a month or two ago, but it's been resolicited. And it is going to tie into a couple of revelations from the Dark Knight's Metal miniseries. That much we do know.
James Tinian's writing, perhaps the fact that Jim Lee's the art is why it's being resolicited, I don't know. But there are new properties into the DC's Young Animal section on page 94 and 95. Mm-hmm. got Eternity Girl, Cave Carson as an Interstellar Eye, Mother Panic, Gotham AD, and Shade the Changing Woman.
And all 4 of them are 50% off at dcbservice.com.
Now, Cave Carson, did he first appear in the Silver Age and Showcase?
Actually, Brave and the Bold. I think it was Brave and the Bold
Okay.
31, I believe.
Isn't that a book you're still looking for, Pansy?
If I'm around and I find it inexpensive, yeah, I look for that. It's not an urgent need there, Chris. So, as Adam pulls out our bound copy of Who's Who, looking, I'm pretty sure I'm right with Brave and the Bold 31. I'm good with numbers, unlike you, Adam. Paging.
Yep. Your command of issue numbers never fails to impress me, Brian. That is one thing I just cannot get my brain to do.
It's a skill like juggling. I'm sorry. That's not why you call it.
I almost spat my vanilla Coke all over the screen when you said that. Fantastic.
Page 98 is Action Comics 999. And it's the only issue of Action Comics being solicited in this previews because, as I understand it, they are waiting for issue 1000 to try to time it to be released, I believe, sometime in April, which would be about the same time 80 years ago Action Comics 1 hit the newsstands. Does that sound about right? Yeah, nodding in agreement, Adam. Does that sound about right
Makes
to you?
perfect sense to me.
Because it had a June cover date of 1938. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's my understanding is why it's not solicited in here. It's not delayed. They're trying to do the timing. And kudos to them because I'm looking forward to issue 1000 immensely.
Hell yeah. Of course, we'll be sure to discuss that on the air.
Yes. Now, page 100, Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, number 20. You know, our friends Julie and Shauna Benson are the writers on this, and they have been blessed with cover artists. The first series of main covers was done by Yannick Paquette. Now with issue 19, they've got Terry Dodson doing covers, and this is his second. This is gorgeous. And the variant cover for this is by Adam Hughes. Now and that was Adam just tweeted out in the last 24 hours that image. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Okay. Well, Chris, I am going to text you that image, and Adam, I am going to show you on the screen here or on my phone here the image. It is tremendous, and that's why
isn't he swell, gang?
Oh.
He's a pip.
That's why it's difficult sometimes to choose what things to order when they're not pictured in previews at publication time. But, oh my God, now I order the variant covers anyway. I actually order both. I get both covers. I order the variant cover and go buy the regular version the day it comes out so I can read it right away. But that cover just knocked me out. Adam Hughes is a great artist as it is, but he incorporated the logo into like the bat signal, and it's gorgeous.
I'm looking at it now. Oh, wow. So how much is this original art going to go for, man?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure it's already been claimed by someone, but
yeah.
5 figures.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah,
that is gorgeous.
It is tremendous. So, and the interior arc is by Roger Antonio, and that's good stuff too. And actually, the writing is pretty good from what I've been reading. So, but these covers, wow, awesome.
I wanted to comment as we move into the Batman section, because I was on the episode when you talked about it. That last Batman annual that Tom King wrote, Pants.
Oh, my God.
With Lee Weeks.
Yes.
You commented about it on the air.
Yes.
Where we were going into the history of the Earth 2 Batman, right? Essentially?
I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to read it again, but that I'm thinking along that ways. I need to, but it was tough to read through the tears the first time through.
Yeah, I
had to put it down several times.
Yeah, because that I concur, because it's so rare you get a one and done so masterfully executed, and that comic should be taught in courses for how to do a comic book, to do a complete story. One sitting, in the sense that it's just between two covers, you have the whole story. I was so moved by it. He is without question one of the best writers in comics right now, hands down. But
Of course,
that
Tom
annual,
King, of course, you're talking about Tom King.
Yes, Tom King. And I encourage listeners, if you haven't picked it up, I don't know if it's still on the stands or if you get it online. It's annual number 2, isn't it?
It is correct.
Yeah. One of the most moving books I've read in quite some time, only to be matched by the latest issue of Mr. Miracle. Did you read it?
The last issue I read was issue 5. Are you talking about issue 6?
It might be 5. Let me look up the cover right now on my phone. Yeah, it's 5. Where I won't spoil, but where he's spending a day with his wife because of things that are going to happen. You know the one I'm talking about?
Well, the one I read took place in his living room.
With Orion and all that, right?
Yeah, that's the last issue that I believe I read. Maybe I'm misremembering the numbering.
Okay.
After I showed off my numbering skills before.
Yeah, that might be 4. I'm not, because I don't have the books in front of me. But again, he's taking a character that I've always enjoyed, but people haven't done a lot with, really since Kirby, except a little bit here and there. And he's just totally drawing out the essence of that character, acknowledging it, but then doing something so innovative with Scott Free. The last couple issues are some of the most groundbreaking comic book work I've seen in a long time. Tom King, man, making it worthwhile to stick with our hobby. That's all I can say. I have to admittedly, I have to confess that for both Marvel and DC, a lot of times I kind of breeze through the floppies and go right to see what they have in the trades. Having said that, I'm jumping ahead here quite a bit. We can always go back. But on page 123, very excited that Christopher Priest is with Pete Wood, which I've always enjoyed, on a Justice League story. Justice Lost is the name of the arc he's going to be working on, and he's bringing in which was clearly a Black Panther analog that he used in the Deathstroke book. And Deathstroke is one of the best, another one of the top books I'm reading these days that I'm thoroughly enjoying. But I'm definitely, anything Priest does, as many long-time listeners know, I just always give it a shot at. So looking forward to that, seeing how he interprets the Justice League. Look on page 125. Look at that cover to Mr. Miracle 7. Oh, God. And let's not. We should also give credit where credit's due to Mr. Is it Gerard's? Forgive me.
Potato. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. Quarter in the jar. Mr. Weathington, please redeem me. But beautiful. Just stunning work. I mean, talk about realizing one of Kirby's visions, just taking a wonderful direction. Just tremendous stuff. Did any of you guys read the Nightwing New Order miniseries?
No, I have not. I know you championed it.
Yeah, it's finishing up. Wow, just talk about a good old fashioned Elseworld that really feels consequential and is gripping and captures the essence of the characters, just puts them in a different setting that you normally wouldn't see. I highly recommend it when it comes out in trade. Damn it, Pants, who's the writer? I just brain farted on his name. Kyle Higgins. I think he's a writer, often gets overlooked, but everything he does I've enjoyed thoroughly. The Cowl, Hadrian's Wall. So I highly recommend Nightwing New Order. Just top. I don't think they use the term Elseworlds anymore, but it's top flight. Sorry, gentlemen, monopolize. I've been hungering to get back on the show. So
no, that's fine.
What else in DC?
Well, we seem to have a Bizarro story in the offing on page 132. This is in Superman, numbers 42 and 43. It's called Boy-Zarro Redeath, and it introduces us to a Bizarro version of Superman's son, Superboy. And great little Grant Wood tribute there on the cover to number 42. Bizarro
Indeed.
Gothic. I love that the Bizarro Crypto is wearing glasses to conceal his secret identity. Yeah. Not wild about the word Boy-Zarro, but I'm sure the story itself is going to be better than the moniker under which it's built. It's Peter Tomasi, a writer who I trust to turn in solid work, giving us his take on a DC Rebirth era Bizarro story. And it might actually involve Bizarro World. The copy kind of hints at that. It mentions a square planet. So that is a story I will definitely be buying.
And if memory served, actually, I got an email from Dr. Eamon Clark that I believe this is the 60th anniversary year of the debut of Bizarro.
That could, 1958. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Pages
Superboy 68. Oh, you knew that number because you have that issue, of course.
Yes, I do. And it's my favorite character, so
Yes.
it sort of behooves me to remember at least that one number.
All right, do us all a favor. Please give us the Bizarro oath.
Us do opposite of all earthly things. Us hate beauty. Us love ugliness. Is big crime to make anything perfect in Bizarro world.
You're welcome, everybody.
Know the code.
That was a thespian turn if there ever was one.
No, thank you, Chris.
I love these men.
I'm sorry, I just have to amuse myself sometimes.
Can you feel the love going back your direction too, Chris?
Right? Gentlemen. I wanted to point out, I have it in my hand, I'll have it read by the next time we talk. I picked up the Hawkman Found issue by Jeff Lemire and Brian Hitch. I haven't read it yet, but I've always loved Hawkman. I think we all agree he was done a real disservice when they did New 52. And it's like, just by skimming this, they're going to try to maybe reset or return to his glory. So when I read, I'll have this read for our next episode, we can talk about it. But that looks very interesting.
Have you been reading the Dark Knight's Metal miniseries also, Chris?
I have not, and this is actually a tie-in to it, Murd, but I have not read Dark Knight Metal at all. How is it?
Well, it's very enjoyable if you're fond of the DC Universe Easter egg hunting. Mm-hmm. So Mr. Peter John Rios has certainly been having a good time with it. He's been doing the footnote style episodes. I forget what his term, the Daily Rios.
Was it breakdowns?
Analog for footnotes.
Might have been breakdowns.
Could be, or maybe we're just thinking of that Justice League story.
I'll definitely check those out. I'd love to hear Peter wax rhapsodic on that.
Oh yes, he digs into it and he helps to historicize all the different little details.
Oh, fantastic, Murd. Definitely gonna check that out.
So yeah, you should really read that before you read Hawkman Found, because it ties into new revelations about Carter Hall and his countless reincarnations that are revealed in that miniseries.
Okay, thank you for the tip. And Murder, I thought of you on page 142. I know you love Charlie Fish, Scooby-Doo Team Up 36, Angel and the Ape.
Not only that, but the Inferior Five and Stanley and his monster. So Charlie Fish is giving us some of DC's Silver Age humor characters now, and that is just outstanding.
Nelson Bridwell lives, Murd. He lives.
In my memory, and on the pages of Scooby-Doo Team Up.
Indeed. You guys ready for DC trades?
Sure.
I'm excited. I thought of you here, Pants, on page 2. All the Flash goods they got going on here. They got The Flash by Mark Waid, Book 4. Flash, The Silver Age Omnibus Volume 3 hardcover. And Flash, The Silver Age Volume 3 trade pick. Classic covers. Look at that.
Flash-rific.
And the opposite page, Green Lantern, The Silver Age Volume 3.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to jump ahead to page 151, where they have the Batman Arkham Hugo Strange trade paperback with a Brian Boland cover. Fox just debuted the latest X-Files TV show, and this just reminds me of Mitch Pileggi as his Skinner. It's like, it looks just like him.
And actually, beneath that, we've got two great Batman collections. Batman the Dark Detective by Mike W. Barr, art by Alan Davis, Norm Breyfogle. Collective Comics 568 to 574, 579, 582. And then the DC Universe by Brian K. Vaughan. Oh! For various DCU stories that Vaughan wrote. Fantastic. Future Quest Presents Volume 1 on page 153. Jeff Parker doing the Space Ghost. I'm sure that's fun. And speaking of Hawkman, again on page 154, God, I love this series. The James Robinson, Jeff Johns Hawkman, with art by Rags Morales, Peter's favorite, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Hawkman 55 to 25, and JSA 56 to 58. Have you guys read that series, right?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I
think that's a classic series.
love the Rag Morales artwork on that. Absolutely, yeah.
And another seminal classic story on page 155, J.C. The Golden Age, new trade paperback, new edition. James Robinson, Paul Smith. Enough said there.
Yep.
That's a classic.
It sure is.
Yeah. And if you missed the Commandy Challenge, which I'm still reading, they're doing the hardcover. Murd, you can wait for the soft cover.
I absolutely will.
But it's half off of DCBS. Oh, wait, not $10.99.
Imagine how much cheaper it'll be when they give us half off the soft cover.
Yes. We have to wait so much longer, and time
Is on my side. Yes, it is.
Oh, God. Man, I can't believe I walked into that one.
Page 156, a Teen Titans Go box set, written by Charlie Fish, among others. Mm-hmm. And then Wonder Woman by Perez, Volume 3, that classic series being reprinted. One of Murd's favorite titles, go-to titles, Astro City on page 157.
Mm-hmm. Starts a 3-part arc.
What an accomplishment by Busiek. He stuck with this book for what? Is it 20 years now?
More than that. I think the first issue
incredible.
Came out through Image in 1995 or 96, so it's been more than 20 years.
Consistently a great title. I think it's one of the all-time sort of superhero comics.
I would agree with that.
You guys ready for IDW?
Certainly.
Licenses, gentlemen.
Oh, look, they're doing a Bubba Hotep miniseries. Co-written by Joe R. Lansdale and Joshua Hapkuga. I'm not sure there, but anyway, this was a film starring Bruce Campbell about a man who either is an elderly, still alive Elvis, or at least an elderly man who believes himself to be Elvis, as he battles against ancient Egyptian mummies. So this is taking that same character in a slightly different direction. Versus Vampires from Outer Space, apparently. It's called Bubba Hotep and the Cosmic Bloodsuckers #1. It's on page 164, and it is 50% off at dcbservice.com. For the Bruce Campbell quotient.
I'm sorry, Murray, go ahead.
It's okay. Go ahead, Chris.
Page 169, Rom Tales the Star Order #1 Special Edition. Representation of Ron comic book creator Sal Buscema's story of the characters presented in a single issue for the first time. Wow. I love Sal Buscema's work. He was the Rom artist. That's exciting. But it's without, of course, who's the writer I love who did Rom, Micronauts?
Bill Mantlo.
God, I'm getting old. Holy mackerel. But
aging right alongside you there, Chris.
Well, not me. I have a whole thing planned out. I'm not going to be aging. I'm not going to turn 50 next year. I've got it all planned out.
The picture of Brian Christopher.
I'm sorry.
Somewhere in your cluttered house, there's a portrait of you that's getting older day by day.
Absolutely.
It's probably by Brian Boland.
You've learned my secret.
Breathe, Pansy, breathe. Shane mentioned this. I always thought it was interesting. On page 179, that I guess Disney sharing the love because of Star Wars License 2. This Forces of Destiny book. And then Star Wars Adventures, which I guess is more for children. Written by Charlie Fish.
Yeah, there it is.
So, always good to see Star Wars books for a younger audience. Now, I wanted to go to, because a lot of these are ongoing books we've talked about before, but there is something that I thought of immediately, Pants. Bear with me here. Yes, on page 200. Don Rose's The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, Volume 2, Artist Edition.
Yeah, they keep churning out these artist editions, and I mean, it's gorgeous. I love the concept. I love the characters that they've chosen for an artist, but they're not cheap.
I can't buy them without the store. I can't buy these anymore. But what a wonderful concept! And Murd, I thought of you on the previous page.
Page 198?
Yeah, Weird Love number 23.
Yeah, I actually have most of the issues thus far published of that series. it just makes me think of Jamie. He would occasionally dig up bizarre old romance comics. There was one he found at one of your sales that I think he was tempted to use as his sacred text for when he performed the wedding ceremony for Matt and his wife Megan. I think it was a Charlton comic, and it was about hippie romance, and the cover story was "To love, honor, and swing, baby."
Yeah, there was a period of time where I just happened to get my hands on a lot of, sort of beat up old romance comics. One of my favorites was I don't remember there were so many of them, which title it was. Young Love, one of them, where the poor protagonist is sitting in a wheelchair, and then his ne'er-do girlfriend in the background, another man saying, "How can I leave him?" or something like that. But nothing was sacred in those books. Injured, capped. DC romance. I also have a poster of Marvel briefly returned to romance books in the early 70s. It happened at Woodstock. So, great stuff. You guys ready for Image?
Two more IDW things I want.
Please.
On that self-same page as Weird Love number 23, we've got a new collection from Craig Yo's Yo Books. It's hardcover. It's called Super Patriotic Heroes, and it's reprinting a bunch of different stories of World War II era patriotic superheroes. Some of them somewhat well known. The Fighting Yank is one that I've heard of. Miss America, although there were a couple of different Miss Americas in the Golden Age, and other lesser known ones like U.S. Jones, the American Eagle, etc. So some more fun old-timey oddities brought to you by Yo Books. And back on page 191 is a return of a series that I have read and enjoyed in the past. It's from horror comics writer Steve Niles and artist Damian Worm, The October Faction, a new series called The October Faction Supernatural Dreams. And it's about a family of monster hunters, battlers of the supernatural. It's a little bit like the Addams Family meets the Doom Patrol. Interesting, very, very distinctive flavor. It's a blend of sort of horror and superhero action, plus there's themes of family and legacy and all that good stuff. So it is a series that I do recommend if you haven't tried it before.
Did you guys mention, because it was on last preview, on page 188, the book The Highest House by Peter Gross, the guys who did Unwritten? It's listing issue 2 here.
Yeah, I don't think we did mention that in our last episode.
Okay, that's because it's just I loved Unwritten. So I'm happy to see that team back together. I tried to track down that issue 1. On to Image, my friends.
Certainly.
Image it shall be. And
so be it. Go ahead, Murd. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start us off here in Image. It's a new Jeff Lemire series right there on pages 204 and 205. It's called Gideon Falls. It's Jeff Lemire with artist Andrea Sorrentino, the creative team of Old Man Logan, and also Lemire's run on Green Arrow. And it's kind of a supernatural suspense story set in a small town where there exists a local legend of a magical barn. So naturally, that resonates with me personally. I've got a magical barn of my own in my background, so I think I'll probably be picking that up. What do you think, Chris?
Oh, I'm definitely getting it. It's Lemire. I mean, I haven't read as much of his work as I'd like, but like I haven't read Underwater Welder for. But I love Black Hammer, so I'm definitely picking this up. I wanted to point out if you're a Kirkman fan on page 206, he's writing a new story, Oblivion Song. A decade ago, 300,000 citizens of Philadelphia were suddenly lost in oblivion, capital O. The government made every attempt to recover them, but after many years they gave up. Nathan Cole won't. He makes daily trips, risking his life to try and rescue those still living in the apocalyptic hellscape of oblivion. Interesting.
Interesting indeed. Set in Philadelphia, no less.
I've always seen Kirkman more as an idea man and a visionary. I'm not necessarily... I think he's a good writer, but I think there are writers who are sort of a notch above him. But and I've already talked about I'd done for The Walking Dead a while back, but I may try this. We'll see what the budget says.
Well, if it influences you at all, it's the first issue is 50% off on DCBService.com. I think that just made up my mind for me. I will try it.
Thanks, Honey Pie. I appreciate that. And if you're feeling nostalgic, page 208, Cyberforce.
Let's see. On page 209, a series that Image is so excited about, they misspelled the title in on the headline of the solicitation page. Dry County. Not Dry Country, but Dry County. Brought to you by Rich Tommaso, creator of Spy Seal. Apparently it's going to be... it looks like it's going to be kind of a mystery story set in late 80s Miami. So if you're a fan of 80s detective shows or the detective fiction of Carl Hyacin, who set most of his stories in Florida, or if you enjoy the artwork of Patrick Nagel, it looks like it's going to be your cup of tea, just judging by the cover art here. It's going to be kind of a glossy, pastel-colored 1980s mystery.
I want to point out on page 214, Saga reaches issue 50. That's a great achievement in indie books, especially with the same creative team consistently every issue. I've spoken profusely many times in this program. I consider this one of the best comic books being produced today. Nothing has changed my mind when it comes to that opinion. Whenever this book comes out, it's the first book I read in that particular batch. So if you never tried Saga, I'm not going to spoil much. It's about family. It's about the travails of family, just in a sort of space fantasy setting. So it's Brian K. Vaughan and it's Fiona Staples. Get the trades. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Let's see here. Point out, I'm pleased that Greg Ruck on page 224, the Black Magic has returned. Nicholas Scott is the artist. Beautiful artwork. It's about a police officer who's also part of a coven of witches, and how those two worlds are going to converge in a way that's going to cause a lot of trouble for her and those who are important to her in her life. Both a sort of police procedural combined with sort of supernatural intrigue. Rucka. It was on hiatus for a long time. It came back. I highly recommend it. That's on page 224. Go ahead, Murray.
Nicholas Scott artwork is always an enticement.
It's a gorgeous artwork. It's beautiful. I'm just going to shout out books I always acknowledge. Page 237, Killer Be Killed. It's Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Again, it's their sort of take on the vigilante concept in a modern urban thing. Another one of the books I'll read immediately as soon as I get my hands on it. Also, on page 238, Mage the Hero Denied. I am loving this. I think Matt Wagner hasn't lost a beat. It's apparently the final arc in his epic Mage trilogy. If you haven't tried out the first two arcs, they're available in paid. I recommend them. But I'm thoroughly enjoying this swan song for the character, apparently. Oh, look, on page 240, Moonshine is coming back by Brian Azzarello. I've fallen behind on that book, but that's a great book about sort of combining the supernatural, werewolves, and Prohibition era and bootlegging. The team who did 100 Bullets. It's really fun. What else, gentlemen?
I think I've already said my piece about Image. How about you, Brian?
I'm good.
All right, let's move on to Marvel. Now, I'm going to shout out something for a moment.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was actually very excited about this because I said I had a little bit of free time. I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to sit down. It's been a while and just read a book, catch up on books. So, Murray, I thought of you. I picked up issue 1, X-Men Grand Design.
Oh, yes, by Ed Piskor.
Yes. Now, it's been a long time, brothers, a long time, that I've read a book from the Big Two that I actually had to get up because I was so excited at how masterfully executed it is. And I know Murray speak highly of his work on his history of hip-hop that he did for Fantagraphics.
Oh, yeah?
Well, he does the same treatment to the X-Men. I haven't read an X-Men. I haven't followed the X-Men in quite a while. I just became tired of the constant title changes and crossovers and everything else. But I still love the characters in the world. And I've never seen this guy's artwork. stunning, and just does a wonderful job at capturing and without changing anything, but just acknowledging and interpreting in his own way the entire history of X-Men, starting with the Silver Age and moving forward. But he's telling us a story. It's everything that's happening here. But it was so thrilling to see it reimagined and revisited. And just all the talk about Easter eggs. They have to put an index in the back to tell you where to go for all the original issues that he went to tell his story. Murd, you would love this.
I know I would, because I happen to have the first issue sitting on my couch at my apartment right now.
Well, let me what you think when you read it. But again, ladies and gentlemen, I got giddy. I was halfway through. I was like, "This is awesome!" Like I haven't decided a mainstream, certainly X-Men book in years, probably. But it's all that history of lovingly retold. Definitely. I know it's early, but this is going to be one of my top books for 2018.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's just about as early as you can get, but it's never too soon to start making your list of nominees.
You bet, brother. All right, Pants. I know I share your feelings here on page 5 of the Marvel. The Mighty Thor 705. The end of an era, the epic final battle that will have you in tears.
Well,
all right, Pantsy, get your tissue paper.
Well, then I got to catch up because I'm a little behind in my reading. I mean, I've been getting it, but yeah, I got to catch up with that. I wanted to talk a little bit about this Infinity countdown. Where I saw, I think it's not actually in the Marvel previews, but in the actual previews itself. I think way in the front under page 19 on the Cat Buzz, where it says 3 of the Infinity Stones. Now, first of all, Adam, you call them gems, not stones. Is that the...
Yeah, I insist. But I'm hoping at some point, and it may have happened already in some of the comics that I haven't read from Marvel, maybe they might provide some insight into this. They do mention that the Infinity Gems have been recreated. So maybe now that they're newer and less refined, perhaps it's more appropriate to call them Infinity Stones for that reason.
Okay.
If there's an in-story justification for this, if they acknowledge that they were gems and now they're stones, I'd feel a little bit better about it if that were so.
Okay. Well, they mentioned that 3 of the stones are in the possession of Wolverine, Captain Marvel, and Star-Lord. And 3 were to be discovered. And they also mentioned, and this is from the previews itself, it says, since the release of Marvel Legacy #1 in September and its reveal of Wolverine alive and with an Infinity Stone. Now, I read that, and I completely forgot about that, if that's in there. So my memory is shot for these kind of things, which makes me crazy, but this sounds interesting, and obviously the timing with the movie coming out could not have been better. Mm-hmm. I'm not faulting them. I think that's a great thing to get people hopefully interested in comics. But do you have a take on this, Adam? Are you up to date on any of this stuff in Marvel? What's going on right now in Marvel?
Not at all, which is why I was kind of putting the call out there for anyone to advise or inform if some mention has been made of why these things are stones in the comics as opposed to gems.
Okay.
But it looks here like we have the makings of a new Infinity Watch coming up. Infinity Watch being the name of Adam Warlock's team of guardians, protectors, and curators of the Infinity Gems in the wake of the Infinity Gauntlet event way back when.
Okay.
And that first watch consisted of Adam Warlock himself, Gamora, Pip the Troll, Drax the Destroyer, Moondragon, and a mysterious 6th member who eventually turned out to be Thanos. So now we've got 2 of the original 6 here anyway. We got Adam Warlock and Gamora. And I got to give props to Nick Bradshaw, who did the cover, for drawing Gamora to look like Gamora and not just Zoe Saldana.
Right.
I just hope the interior artist Aaron Cooter is going to do the same. But we've also got the aforementioned Wolverine, which kind of raises an eyebrow, but he doesn't usually get embroiled in cosmic things like this. And
Okay.
kind of feels a bit exploitative that he's there, but I'm not going to complain too much until I've actually read it. And then Carol Danvers, Super Skrull, and Loki. That they're the characters who are on the cover of the first issue of this Infinity Countdown miniseries. Mm-hmm. And, I'm thinking I might just have to break down and give this a try. Plans seem to be taking shape of a very definite nature for the role of the Infinity Gems/stones in the Marvel Universe. And if I can judge by the little glimpses we're getting here, I think I might actually like what transpires. So I will give this a try. The first issue of Infinity Countdown is 50% off on DCBService.com, so I can hedge my bet that way. At least don't have to pay full cover price to read a comic that refers to these things as stones instead of the gems that Jim Starlin intended them to be. So,
Well, Murd, if you're getting it, I'm going to get it so we can discuss it.
Sounds like a plan, Chris.
Amen, brother. Back to the Thor for a minute. I just want to comment. I know Pants will concur. I think Jason Aaron is one of the definitive runs on the character, and I'm not sure. I don't know how much longer he's going to be writing the book past this. I have no idea, but he's taken the Jane Foster Thor and also the Odinson Thor, narrative journey. I'm so excited to see how this is going to culminate, but definitely one of Marvel's top titles in my opinion. Page 7. Oh, what a shock! The Green Goblin back for the millionth time. Okay.
This time there's going to be a Red Goblin.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to sound too dismissive. Dan Slott's a wonderful writer. I mean, Spider-Man's always my favorite character, but a recent issue just to jump back in, I enjoy it, but I get tired after a while.
Well, evidently this is going to be Dan Slott's last story for Spider-Man.
Oh. Well, for that reason, I may jump in if it's just for that, because he's a great writer, and he definitely writes Spider-Man extremely well, although I haven't read everything he's done. But.
And it looks like it's leading up to issue 800.
And we should point, I thought of Jamie D here, because we see all these anniversary issues come out, which he always loved so much. So 17, Daredevil 600, by Charles Soule, Christos Gage, and Ron Garney. So I haven't been reading Daredevil since the end of the Wade run. I love the character. So I'll pick this kind of jump back in there, maybe try to get a couple issues prior to that. They're all moving towards Iron Man on my apologies. Page 2, Iron Man 598 by Bendis and Caselli and Millet. And also on page 31, Captain America 699. By the way, Sam and Cap has been so much fun so far. Really enjoying that. It's Wade.
It's a great creative team.
It sure is. Deadpool. Okay. March is Venom True Believers Month. Didn't we already do this in the 90s? And it got pretty tiresome then. But anyway.
Page 43, looks like Bendis and Gaydos are stepping down from Jessica Jones after issue 18.
Well, Bendis is going to DC exclusive. He's just wrapping up his commitments with Marvel.
This thing.
Well, I've loved the creative team's return to Jessica Jones. I consistently enjoy her, so I'm go. But good luck to Bendis in his future endeavors. Again, Ta-Nehisi Coates, I think, continues to do a wonderful job with Black Panther. I've consistently enjoyed that series. I wish we had more Brian Stelf, but at least. Again, Al, of course, will be talking at length when we do our review of the movie when it comes out next month. I'm counting the days for that. Anybody read the new Marvel 2-in-1 yet?
No.
I've skimmed it.
Okay.
It seems that Ben and Johnny are getting their heads together and possibly going in search of the rest of their family. And there is a villain who's counting on their doing exactly that.
Okay. I may pick it up if I get a chance, just because I love those characters, and I've really missed the Fantastic Four Marvel Universe.
Yep.
So
Off to a pretty good start. And Chip Zdarsky's demonstrating right out of the gate that he can write serious comics, too.
he's a fine creator. I love his work on Sex Criminals. I'm sure Shane would echo my sentiment here that Marvel continues to knock it out of the park with their Star Wars titles. I don't read all of them just because of money, but I read the flagship title. I read the Darth Vader book, which is phenomenal. I don't know if I'm going to read Thrawn. I want to read the hardcover first, the actual Timothy Zahn book, which I haven't read yet. But I've always enjoyed that character. Murd, I thought of you. Page 73. Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme Omnibus Volume 2. So they're reprinting that Roy Thomas arc you love from the 90s.
Yes, that I really want to get. I want to collect all issues of that run eventually. And this being a hardcover, I won't be buying it, but it does collect a lot of that material. And the cover that we see here by Jeff Isherwood, I believe, is actually a non-foil enhanced reproduction of the cover to Doctor Strange number 50 from that run.
Well, those issues should be pretty cheap in back bins. I'm sure you'll track them all down eventually.
Oh yeah. Oh, this hardcover even contains the first 11 issues of Secret Defenders, which of which
a staple.
Right, Doctor Strange was the leader of that team, and I believe that the series was written by Roy Thomas at that time as well.
Murd, I also thought of you on page 103. They're reprinting once again a Grunwald classic, Project Pegasus.
Oh yeah,
which is a great Marvel 2-in-1 story. If you've never read that, it's just a classic Thing story from the 80s. Great, really taps into Marvel history when it comes to... is the Serpent part of that story?
I'm pretty sure it would be.
Okay. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check and see if I have Avengers number 236 and 237 in my collection then. Because if I don't,
go ahead, Murd, I'm sorry.
If I don't, I need to get them.
Because Mark Grunwald, as we all know, has such a loving command of Marvel history, and it always is suffused in anything that he did. And this is one of his best works. I'm also pleased to see, and Murd, wow, again for you, on page 107, a new edition of the Avengers Defenders War. Wow. Also contains giant-size Avengers, even stuff from the Foom fanzine. Terrific. And if you missed Cap in the 80s and 90s, the Bloodstone Hunt, another Grunwald story. We're reprinting that. And this is a great stuff. The Annihilation Saga. They're reprinting that again on page 108. Great Marvel Cosmic. Gentlemen, I will leave you to because I have to go take care of some grocery shopping.
Before you head out, Chris, can you give us some
Yes.
lightning rounds in the back of the book at all? A couple of highlights?
Absolutely. My friend, I'd be honored. Well, first of all, and Pants, I know you share this, the fact that there's a new Strangers in Paradise comic on page 262.
Yep.
This is issue 2 of the new volume, which I'm sure we'll discuss issue 1 once we have it in our hands. But to me, Strangers in Paradise is one of the first independent comics I ever read. I remember the first Image color issue in a little comic. I was like, wow, that's interesting. So knowing nothing about it, I picked it up. And I was in love from that moment forward. And I know Jamie D was a massive booster for this book on the show. And I would tell anyone, please hunt down the digest editions, or if you want to really splurge, the overall, the slipcase big collection. Terry Moore, one of the greatest living masters in comics. He's in a whole nother plateau. And please, he's bringing back, the book he's most famous for. They're also doing a Motor Girl Omnibus, that wonderful story. They're collecting that whole. The latest Moore creation. Great stuff. Also, just amusingly, page 2. World's Finite Cerebus #1. Fun little tribute to the World's Fair comic, right, Murd?
I'm not sure what cover that I recognize.
No, that's a World's Finest cover.
Okay, it was Batman, Superman, and Robin doing like a get out the war bond type of thing, right? That kind of cover.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just a fun tribute over there on page 262. What else jumped out at me, Pansy?
I don't know. You tell me.
God, I missed Pants. You're chuckling as a tonic with a spirit. By the way, Pants, while I'm leafing through here, I'm looking forward to the David Letterman Netflix show.
Yes. Oh, that's right. That starts this Friday. Yes. And so far, we're getting off tangent here, but so far, this is all I want to talk about. Getting a ticket has eluded me.
Oh!
I
figured you were going to do damnedest to get one.
They taped one show in Los Angeles. I couldn't get a ticket for that. They taped 2 in New York. I couldn't get that. They're taping another show in L.A. next week. I can't make it out for that. So it leaves 2 more left. It's like, I gotta go see it.
So he's doing 1 per month, right? That's how they're doing it?
Yes, 6 episodes,
Okay.
1 per month. They've already
And
taped.
the first one is with Obama.
That's correct.
So, want to point on page 347, again, I mentioned this, but again, the consistency. Dynamite just doing a wonderful job with the James Bond property. I've pretty much enjoyed every book they've done with this character. Some stronger than others, but all just really, I think, capture the real essence of that character, really the brutality of Bond's world. Outstanding. I highly recommend all of the James Bond books they've done from Dynamite. And I also wanted to point out, I'm going to jump really far ahead here because I do have to leave shortly, but I can never leave a preview without praising Tomorrow's. So let me skip over. Because I have a couple of exciting magazines in there I wanted to give a shout out for. So we've got Alter Ego 152. This is on page 436. Going into the creator Larry Ivy, a name I'm familiar with, but I never knew that much about. And just reading the blurb, all the things he was involved in. He conceived and named the Justice League of America, apparently helped develop the Thunder Agents, brought EC Arc Greats to the world of Edgar Rice Burroughs. Looking forward to that issue. And Comic Book Creator 17, all about the life of Wally Wood. Very excited about that. On page 437, the new Jack Kirby Collector. Enough said there. And I wanted to point out they're doing an offer again. Back issue 101, Rock and Roll Comics issue. And I mentioned this on the air before because Shane and Mervyn especially loved it. All 3 of you would love this. But exclusive interview with Sam Jones about his experience playing Flash Gordon. They go into about the Kiss comic book. I had this issue. It's so much fun. Now, Murd, did you get the Groovy hardcover yet?
There's a copy of it sitting not 2 feet from where I'm sitting right now.
Have you read it yet or no?
I have not read it, but I've certainly flipped through it. Lots
Okay.
of interesting little page or 2-page mini entries about various 60s musical acts and also TV and film and comics, of course. From the,
Well, I look forward to seeing that. For me, gentlemen, I will let you finish it up while I go take care of some domestic duties.
Okay.
And gentlemen, thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute delight.
All right, Chris.
And I'll talk to both of you quite soon.
Excellent.
Give our
night,
gods to
brothers.
the grocery gods, Chris.
Take care, gentlemen. Bon voyage.
All right.
Adios. Bye.
Bye con Rios.
Buenos noches.
All right, so let's soldier on out of mine with some of the things in the rest of the book, which unfortunately I am also very light on, but I will echo Chris's sentiments on Strangers in Paradise. Very good to see that back again. I just got the sketchbook that Terry Moore did of like his last 25 years, and it's amazing. There's some great. I usually am not a sketchbook guy, but this is a nice sized tome, and it's gorgeous to look at all of Terry Moore's artwork. So I have to get me geared up for the return of Strangers in Paradise coming out. Go ahead. Did you see something?
It's proving to be a pretty light month for me, too, apparently.
Well, I just came across something in Archie I didn't see before. Page 289. Vampironica #1. A new ongoing series. When Veronica is bitten by a centuries-old vampire, her thirst for blood threatens to turn Riverdale into a haven for the undead. Will she put an end to the vampire threat or give in to her bloodlust? I don't know why that just made me
Doesn't anybody
laugh.
just make Archie comics anymore?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, they do. They do.
Vampire Veronica,
these are-
Werewolf Jughead,
These are
Zombie
oth-
everybody.
These are other options. You don't have to get them if you don't want to.
It just seems like the other options have eclipsed the classic formula Archie comics. There don't seem to be very many of them on offer outside of the digest reprinting.
Well, they do have the Your Pal Archie, which was started. Actually, it's collected here. as a trade. Archie, classic-style Archie makes his return in this all-new, all-ages collection from Ty Templeton and Dan Parent. That's on page 292. But on 291, again, the Archies. Now, actually, as we record this, tomorrow is a new comic day, and Archies number 4 comes out with the monkeys in it. But they're they're soliciting issue number 6 here with Blondie as a guest star.
Gee, did we miss who was going to be in number 5? Back from the 70s, perhaps?
I don't know. I'll have to check that.
But to my point, though, the Archies appears to be the closest thing to a classic new Archie comic they seem to be putting out. You mentioned Your Pal Archie by Ty Templeton and Dan Parent, but that's a collection. Again, I'd kind of like them to.
Well, they did have. It's collecting the most recent ongoing.
I guess I can always just read the daily newspaper strip, but I'm not sure even that is really new content.
Oh well. Time marches on, Adam. I don't know if you heard that.
Time marches on, and soon it's plain.
Did I do it again?
Little Cole Porter there.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
Let's see, page 336. This is not something I was planning to buy, but under Dynamite, there's a new Green Hornet series coming out, in which Britt Reed Jr. has gone missing, and now the daughter of Kato is putting on the Green Hornet costume and going around trying to find him. So the first issue of that series is 50% off at dcbservice.com.
Written by Amy Chu.
Yeah, well, next thing I come to
Okay.
is, and you might be interested in this too, Brian.
All right.
It's under the Lion Forge section of the book.
Okay.
Pages 382 and 383. It's a new offering from Art and Franco.
Oh, yeah?
Art by Chris Giarusso, formerly of Mini Marvels.
Oh, okay.
And his own series, G-Man from Image. It's called Encounter, and it's about a little shape-shifting alien who comes to Earth. He can look like anything, and he chooses to look like a little green and yellow polka-dotted dude with snail horns and a domino mask and cape and little trunks. And he chooses to be a hero. It says, right there it is in the copy. He not only chooses to look like I just described, he chooses to use his powers for good on his newly adopted home planet. So it's kind of the John Jones narrative, but with a contemporary kids' comics twist. It's designated ages 8 to 12, but I think I may give it a try.
Because you're young at heart.
Fairy tales may come true. It can happen to you.
Did I do it again? Jeez, I've gotta stop giving you these.
I'm a musical minefield, Brian. It's just
You're a musical mind, but because you love alliteration.
I don't deny it.
Stop it!
What else do we got to look forward to? Page 396, Oni Press. They seem to be producing a new, they call it a quarterly series of one-shots set in the world of Rick and Morty. Kind of like what Bongo did with Simpsons characters for a while. They would come up with a quarterly one-shot based on a different supporting character from the Simpsons, the world of Springfield. Mm-hmm. And so Rick and Morty is going to do something similar now. And the first characters to be so spotlighted are the Vindicators, which are sort of the Rick and Morty's world's version of like a Marvel Cinematic Universe super team, like the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. Okay. It's a team of there's your all-purpose square-jawed space hero on the order of Star-Lord, voiced by Christian Slater. There's Crocubot, who's a cyborg crocodile. There's Million Ants, who's a sentient colony of ants. There's, I forget his name, but he has a whistle that allows him to summon ghost trains. That's just Casey Jones would be a good name for him, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of had that locked up. So anyway, it's a group that Rick and Morty joined and that Rick subsequently destroyed in one third season episode of Rick and Morty. And now they're getting their own one-shot written by Jay Torres. And this sounds like a fun idea, and I'm probably going to buy every quarterly issue of this new anthology of Rick and Morty supporting characters. Up, page 412, one of my favorite sporadically published independent comic series, Farland the Goblin, has come back with a 6th issue. Written and drawn by. I've met the creator. Jamie and I both did a New York Comic Con a bunch of years ago. He was just going by Jay, which is the first letter of his first name. He seems to have assigned himself the alias Pug Grumble, but the pseudonym, the nom de plume. But the idea is he doesn't want. he wants his work to speak for itself. He doesn't want to superimpose his own name or his own personal brand over it. So he just anonymously has been publishing this Farland comic, and it's a lighthearted fantasy story. It is reminiscent of Bone. It's about a little tree goblin named Farland, and he has like a little pet sidekick, familiar, or whatever you want to call it. It's a little tree named Aaronwort who travels around with him. He's trying to find a forest to call his own. So he's traveling through all the many different themed lands of Wug. They're called Oddlands. And each one has a different identifiable biospheric trait. The most recent one that he went through in number 5 was called the Vault Lands, which is basically a giant magical storage unit where everything is contained in boxes of various sizes. Some of them tiny, some of them vast, enough to contain acreage inside. And it's the Farland's adventures going through all these different lands and trying to find a place that he can call his own, where he can set up shop as guardian of a forest. And so this is issue number 6 coming out now, and it says the second to last volume. So apparently he's...
And what does that mean?
It's the penultimate issue! Yes, you are... You are not only right, but righteous.
Okay.
In the use of that word in this context. Yeah, so this is a series that I have been enjoying very much. Each issue is... It's longer than it is high. It opens up to, so it's 11 inches. So each you open it, it opens up to 22 inches across. So it's kind of a panoramic the display of Pug Grumble's artwork. But yeah, it's very enjoyable. I compare it to Bone, and it also reminds me a little bit of some of those Oz stories that I used to enjoy so much as a child. So, yep, I always like Farland the Goblin. I will buy this 6th issue, and all of you should as well. And below that, resolicited, there is a trade of the first 3 issues of Farland the Goblin if you want to get in on the ground floor. Right there on page 412.
Well, like I said, I am woefully light on items in the back of the book that I'm getting. Is there anything else back there that catches your eye?
One thing just did. On page 426, under Titan Comics, there's a collection of classic Tarzan newspaper strips, as produced by Bern Hogarth. So there's something for your classic comics content.
You and your alliteration.
Yep, as always. I wasn't even trying that time.
Stop it!
On page 436, something from one of Los Bros Hernandez, The Dragon Slayer, Folk Tales from Latin America, written and drawn by Jaime Hernandez. So it's a collection of illustrated folk tales from Latin America. And so that, considering the source, that's bound to be a quality package. And there is something under Valiant, having brought up Jamie D. a moment ago in the context of Farland the Goblin. I like to pick up a Valiant comic every now and again, and it's just a way of sort of raising a glass in his memory. And they're bringing back Shadow Man, one of those classic Valiant characters of the 90s, this time written by Andy Diggle, a man whose comics work I have enjoyed on several occasions in the past. I believe he's the one who wrote that Adam Strange miniseries, which came out around the time of... Infinite Crisis.
Oh, okay.
The one that explained where all those planets were going. And it turned out that Superboy Prime was moving them around for his own...
That wasn't the Rann-Thanagar War, was it?
I believe the Rann-Thanagar War proceeded from that miniseries.
Okay, I know. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He also had a run on Swamp Thing that I enjoyed back in the early to mid-2000s. Anyway, this time he's writing the revival of Shadow Man. And that is going to be a part of the Valiant bundle from DCBService.com. I'm not going to buy the bundle, but I will buy the first issue of this new take on Shadow Man. I'm sure it's going to be a good one.
There you go.
And I think that might be all that I have for that part of the book. And as always, whenever we get to the... I kind of disconnect once we get past the comics.
Okay.
Occasionally there's a book I'll want to mention, but there isn't one this month. And as far as all the swag, apparel, gaming, toys, etc., that's not really my thing.
Okay. All right. Well, then that'll wrap it up for this previews episode.
Sounds good.
All right. And once again, this episode was brought to you by Discount Comic Book Service. Go to dcbservice.com for all your pre-ordering needs.
You will be very glad you did.
Yes.
If you'd like to send us an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave a voicemail, you can call 267-702-6642. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @comicgeekspeak. You can also visit thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com, which is our forum site, where you can leave feedback and talk back to us about the content of this episode and many others of our podcast. Let us know what you'd like to get from previews this month and respond to our remarks on things that are found in this month's catalog, and also engage in conversations on comic-related topics with your fellow CGS listeners. We would like to give special thanks to all those who have donated to the show one way or another over the past 12 years of our existence. Really appreciate it. The show wouldn't be what it is today without your help. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
You got it on Wednesday, and you was psyched about it, going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From cakes to laser beams, opinions like the seasons, and everything you read in comics, movies, games, toys, artists, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek speak, comic geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is Comic Geek Speak.
I'm terribly itchy.
I take it that's going to be cut out.
Yeah.